Hello, my name is Francis Whitfill, and I'm a PhD student in Spanish at the University of Virginia, where I also participate in the Digital Humanities Certificate. Today I'm going to walk you through how to install and start using eScriptorium on a Windows machine. If you're here with a MacBook, I'm sorry, this guide is not going to work for you as it is. We'll be using WSL2, which is a Windows-specific way to run Ubuntu, so everything I demo will be for Windows 10 or 11. Now, if you haven't heard of it before, eScriptorium is a powerful open source platform for transcribing, annotating, and processing images of historical documents. It's especially useful when you're working with scanned manuscripts or early print. I personally use eScriptorium to transcribe 16th and 17th century colonial archives, texts that are too irregular for standard OCR, but still deserve to be read and analyzed. These are things like inquisitorial records, religious texts and letters, written in early modern Spanish, and often barely legible. eScriptorium helps me process those images line by line and build a transcription that I can later edit, analyze, and annotate. Today's focus is on getting you to the point where you can do the same, at least manually. We're not covering model training in this session, but we will get you fully installed and running. So, before we dive into setup, let's talk about what you actually need to get started. This is the checklist that I wish I had before I began, and I'm going to try to keep it simple, but I promise you this is anything but simple, at least if you're not an experienced coder. First, you need to be on Windows 10 or 11, and more importantly, you need to have WSL2 enabled. That's the Windows subsystem for Linux. eScriptorium will not run natively on Windows. We'll be using Ubuntu 22.04, which is the Linux distribution eScriptorium recommends. Next, you'll need Docker Desktop installed and running. If you've never used Docker before, think of it like a way to run multiple mini virtual machines. Each one has a different job, like storing your files or crunching data. You'll also need Git just to clone the repository, and I'd suggest having a GitHub account too. For this specific task, you won't need GitHub, but it does help you if you want to pull in updates later on. And one final sanity-saving tip, make sure Docker is fully running before you start the setup process. If Docker isn't green in your system tray, just go get a snack and wait, trust me. So to recap, Windows 10 or 11, WSL2 with Ubuntu 22.04, Docker Desktop and Git, and a little patience. And once all that's squared away, we can jump into the installation. Okay, deep cleansing breath. We're going to start setting up eScriptorium as if we've never touched a computer before. And I won't skip steps. I was in your shoes and I screamed a lot. So now I scream for you. So let's start with step one. You're going to have to open PowerShell. This is just a text window where you'll type in or paste commands. That's it. So to do that, because I didn't know what PowerShell was, you're going to click the Start menu at the bottom left of your screen. Type PowerShell, right-click the one that says Windows PowerShell, and then you're going to click Run as Administrator. A dark box will open. You're going to install Ubuntu. In that same PowerShell window, type this: WSL space -- install. That command installs WSL, which stands for Windows Subsystem for Linux. And that basically means pretend this is Linux. It also installs Ubuntu, which is the flavor of Linux we're using here. Now, it may ask you to restart your computer, and if it does, go ahead and restart, then open PowerShell the exact same way you just did. Eventually, a new window will pop up asking you to create a username and password for Ubuntu. Pick something easy, write it down, do whatever you need to do to remember it, and yeah, you're going to see weird messages. Things might freeze for a bit, and that's normal, I promise you. Ubuntu takes a minute to settle in, but once it does, you'll have a clean terminal to keep going. Repeat after me. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. We got this. Okay, at this point, we're inside Ubuntu and ready to bring eScriptorium to life. From here, we're going to walk through just a handful of commands, and yes, I'll explain what's happening with each one. The first thing you're going to do is install git and docker compose. I will show you on the prompt what I would type in, but I do want to point out at this time that because I already have all this installed, I'm not actually going to follow through on this process. It should do just fine with the steps that I'm giving you. If not, I will talk about at the end what you can do to troubleshoot. So the first command you're going to enter is sudo sudo space apt space update space ampersand space sudo space apt space install space git space docker dash compose. This tells Ubuntu to check for the latest package lists, that's the update part, and then install git and docker compose, two of the tools that we need to do this. You may have to type your password. It won't show up while you type, and this is normal. The terminal is protecting your privacy. Just type it and press enter. So step 2, we're going to clone the eScriptorium repository. I have listed the command line for that earlier on this slide. I'm not going to read this off as I did before. You can also use the handout that I have created to copy that into your command line. What you're telling this to do right now is to download the eScriptorium project folder and move you into it. This is like grabbing the box of tools from the internet and opening it up. On the next step, we're going to copy the environment file, which gives eScriptorium the configuration details it needs, like what database to use, how to talk to Docker, and how to behave while running. Without this, the app won't know who it is or where it lives. So you can copy the command line from there. And then we're going to start the containers. Pay attention to this one, because this is actually going to be what you need to do to run eScriptorium. So this is the big one. It tells Docker to start building and running all the parts eScriptorium needs: the database, the web interface, the workers, Redis. The screen is going to look wild for a moment. There are going to be things popping up everywhere. Lots of logs, lots of colored text. That's Docker talking to itself. Please don't panic. When it looks like it's calmed down and things aren't falling, you're golden. You need to leave that terminal open for the next step. You cannot close Ubuntu, or at least not this dialog window, because you're going to open a second one. So we're going to go to open Ubuntu again, which I've shown you how to do previously. In the new window, you're going to enter the command prompt that I have: docker compose exec web python manage.py create super user. Again, if you need to pause at any point, go ahead and do that. All of these command lines will be listed on the handout that I am creating with this video. You'll be asked to choose a username, email, and password. And again, the password field will look blank when you type. The cursor will not respond. It's not blank, just keep typing and press enter. And once that's done, congratulations. You should have, emphasis on should, a functioning instance of eScriptorium. Okay, if everything's running smoothly, you should now have the local server up and humming. Now you can finally open a browser, any browser that can be Chrome, Edge, Firefox, and go to http://localhost:8080. This is your own personal eScriptorium site running on your machine. Log in with the super user credentials you created earlier, and you'll know it worked when you land on the homepage, and it looks kind of like an admin panel. Now, here's the basic workflow I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to show you a few of these steps as well. So you're going to want to upload documents here. To do that, you click the plus sign for the project or upload document and drop in an image or PDF. For transcription, you'll need good scans. Create a segmentation layer, add a transcription layer, click on a line and type, and that's really it. I'm going to show you how I would do that for one of these documents that I work with, and then hopefully you can take that and start working with it on your own. I'm going to assume as well that we're going to be manually transcribing, so I will not be talking about using a model at this time. I will give a link where you can search for models through a website called zenodo.org, and you can find several models there that will work with different types of script, be it Latin, Arabic, and so on. And you can download and put that into your eScriptorium so that it'll automatically transcribe. But that's not the focus of this video. So now that you have eScriptorium set up, you can go ahead and log into the browser. I do want to show you what it would look like if you have logged off the browser, you've closed the dialog boxes, and maybe restarted your computer. So anytime I want to go into eScriptorium, I need to find Ubuntu. I've been using it for this video, so it's on my recent tab. And so the first thing I'm going to do is wait until this shows a local root. Give it just a second. There we go. So I'm going to type in cd, sure I clicked in there, cd /eScriptorium, which gets me inside of the folder. And then I want to go ahead and get my eScriptorium dialog up and running. So to do that, I need to type in docker compose up -- build and click enter. Now this process will take a second, and I will wait here for just a moment, but while I do, I'll tell you about some of the resources I use. So one of the sites that I like to use for my transcription work is Pares. Pares is from the government of Spain, and it's basically just the Portal de Archivos Españoles. And so you can find a lot of documents there. When you're working with eScriptorium, it's really useful to have already digitized texts that are scanned, so that when you go to open them in eScriptorium, it can go ahead and start the segmentation work and so on and so forth. Now, the other thing I do is I keep all of them in a folder. This is still something I'm beginning, and honestly, I'm probably not going to continue working with inquisitorial text, but this has been a great way for me to learn how to use eScriptorium, so I keep them in my digital humanities project. As you can see, I have my eScriptorium training work there. So I go into archival work, and the one that I'm going to show you today is this 1610 or 1750. I'll check in just a moment. But yeah, let's see if we are finished with our loading. So if you're not sure if you're finished with it yet, you can go to your window for your browser. Okay, and we've got this. So I'm going to go ahead and type in localhost. It comes up automatically for me, localhost :8080/admin. It does bring me in there, great. So what I can do now is click View Site, and this gets me to the eScriptorium landing page. So you have a few tabs here that I want to talk about. First of all, we've got My Projects, we've got Models, and so on. The models are ones that I have tried to get working. As you can see, I have had some trouble here. I have them named different things, and yeah, this is the one that actually ended up working. I believe I mentioned it earlier, but if not, you can find some of these on a specific community that I will have listed in the handout. So yeah, these others are models that didn't work. As you can see, they have 0 bytes. You can see the varying levels of frustration I had here as well. So we're going to go into My Projects and see what we have. So I have an archive test run that it is the Velasco y Castilla document. So instead, I'm going to go into create a new project. This one is going to be, let me see what the name of that was. 1750 Os Ignacio de la. So Ignacio de la Hoz. Let's go ahead and type that in. So 1750. Yeah, it's already in there. So I ignore the guidelines part and then I click create. So now we have a project successfully created. So at the very beginning, all we're going to have is just a few tabs here. We can click create new document. And this is basically telling you what is, how the text is read, left to right, right to left, and so on. Again, I'm going to call this 1750 Ignacio de la Hoz. Click create. Now, if I go back to my projects, I can see that here is my project. I've got this. I can click it. So this brings me into images. As you can see, I don't have any images here. So the best way to upload them is to click images PDF, because I believe I saved them as a PDF. Let's see. Yes, it is a PDF. If you try to drag the PDF in there, it won't actually work. I don't know why. So you have to go through this extra step here. So we're going to start importing this document. And yeah, you can start to see that these documents are, the pages are appearing in the workspace. I'm going to go ahead and let that load for just a second and point out a few things to you here as well. On this side, you have the train section, and so you can train the document to either segment text correctly or recognize it and transcribe it. Let's see. Before you do anything though, if you click here, you can see inside the document, right? There are no lines. There's nothing here to work with. For the sake of this training, I'm going to use the manual transcription. And so let's go back to images for a second. Now, what I want to do first in order to start transcription is click, so you can see that I have the image selected here. And then I'm going to go to segment, right? And what that's going to do is identify the lines and then mark them so that I can start transcribing. So I'm going to click segment. This will take just a second to work. So you can tell it's working because of this little yellow box here. We're going to give that just a second, and it does take a second, right? This is sort of a demanding task, and so it will take a moment. Let's see, it's still not done. I'm letting you see in real time how long this will take as well. If you're ever unsure if it's actually working or it's doing what it's supposed to do, there are a couple things you can do as well. So you can click over here in reports, see what's going on. Or you can go to, it's called Flower, and it's localhost :555/workers. So I'm going to click that. And then, yeah, these are named celery for some reason. So you click that and then you can kind of see what tasks are available and like what's been going on. So right now I see that it's success. So it should be all finished. I'm going to go back here, and now when I open this document, instead of seeing just the document, I should see some blue lines as well. Great. So it started doing that. As you can see, the lines are set up over here. I'm going to go ahead and identify the line where I want to start. And so I'm going to start with this top one, right? And what I would do is, yeah, like start transcribing. And so like I have here, right? Inquisidor Fiscal de Zaragoza contra Ignacio de la Hoz, vecino de, I'm not sure what that one is. If it's a G, what's this? I'm going to say Guante. I don't think that's actually correct. But yeah, so we can go ahead and start typing this in. Later on, that is going to be useful. When you hit enter, it takes you to the next line. And so I can see that I've got here asobispado, and so on and so forth, right? Some of these are more challenging than others. And so basically that's the workflow. So when you're done transcribing, I'm not going to transcribe this whole document for you. You can click out, you can go back to images and see like where you are, like it'll show you a progress meter. If you want to see like kind of what it looks like when you have some more progress on something, I'm going to show you really fast on my other project. So I've got my Velasco y Castilla document. And so this one is already completely trained. You see 100%. And so, yeah, we have all of this document transcribed. Anyway, that is kind of the workflow for this. If you have any questions, I would greatly advise you, as I said in the handout, to consult ChatGPT. One thing you can do is, if you're having issues with the dialog boxes or anything else, just take and copy that dialog box. If you highlight it, you can literally just right click and it's copied it, okay? And then you can type that into ChatGPT or paste it in and then ask it, what has gone wrong. Anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed and been able to learn something here. I hope that it's working okay. If not, I would advise you to find the step that you're lost on, and you can literally just put it in ChatGPT and it should be able to direct you. Thank you for paying attention, and I wish you happy transcribing.